Hi, Tiffy.
So, hi Teal, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the Movie Girls, everyone.
We're the Movie Girls.
We just recorded this, or so we thought. We did our entire intro only to realize that we didn't actually record it.
Yeah, so we're gonna do it again.
This is take 2. It's gonna be more polished. Probably not. It's probably even more of a mess.
Anyway, whatever.
Welcome everyone to the Movie Girls.
It's a snowy Valentine's Day.
Very snowy,
and it's really nice.
Valentine's Day for us, not for you.
Sorry about it.
No, sorry. It's March something or other. I don't know.
Valentine's for us. It's me and Tiff. The boys are at work still.
Boys are not
Sucks
allowed
to be them.
Yeah.
We have pretty cocktails and chocolate-covered strawberries for later, and it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be a good
Very
time.
Excited. What are we watching this week, Tiffy Lou?
We're gonna watch The Whale Rider.
Oh, it's not it's just Whale Rider.
we're gonna watch.
We debated that last take, and we didn't get it right still.
Oh, I should have looked it up actually while I was waiting. I didn't. I think it's. I wrote The Whale Rider. Let's go with The Whale Rider.
Let's go with the.
So this movie came out in 2002, way back in the day.
Yes.
We were in high school. Let's
in
not.
high school.
It doesn't matter how old we are. It doesn't
No,
matter.
it was a time.
It doesn't matter
before
who is
now.
older than whom.
No,
It's fine.
it's me.
2002. So Teal has never seen this movie.
No.
I love recommending a movie that you haven't seen before because it's exciting to see your reaction and see if it holds up. I would have seen this like back in probably 2002, 2003, so I don't actually remember it very well. I remember bits and pieces.
It's always like nerve-wracking doing a movie that you haven't seen, but I have, because I'm excited about it, but then I'm nervous because like, what if you don't?
What is she
like
gonna
it?
think?
What if it's stupid? And if it's an older one, it's like, oh god, what if this is the worst fucking movie? Whoopsies.
No, I think you're gonna like this one. It's directed by Nikki Caro, based on a book by Witi Ihimara. I'm pretty stoked. So I'm going to keep my synopsis pretty vague. We watched the trailer, but that's it. Otherwise, Teal doesn't know anything about it. So it's about a Maori girl that has to stand up against the men of her tribe to prove to them and her grandfather that she can be just as much as a leader as the boys who are actually being trained to be leaders. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited. It's gonna be good. What are we drinking?
Okay, so this is this pretty cocktail.
Guys,
I'm so excited.
Can I just like describe this cocktail real quick? It is the most perfect color.
What are they seeing?
The most perfect color of mint. It's
Tiffy's favorite color.
Oh my god, it's my favorite color. I'm obsessed. I don't even want to drink it. And it's got this gorgeous star garnish with star fruit and kiwi and pineapple. But I don't actually know what we're drinking, so tell me.
Okay, I haven't got a name for it yet because I don't know what I want to call it. I'll figure it out maybe while we're watching the movie, or maybe when we post the picture on Teaser Trailer Tuesday. You'll have to find out. I don't know. But it is 3 parts white wine, New Zealand white wine, because I like details and attention to them. It's like Monkey Bay, I think. I forgot to look. But because it had Bay in the title, which was like water related, and I'm a nerd. And then 2 parts of blue hypnotique liqueur. That fancy like light blue bottle liqueur thing. It's like different fruit juices with cognac. I've always wanted to buy because everything is always blue curacao and fuck blue curacao.
Yeah.
That's so 4 episodes ago.
It's so 2000
2002. Like this movie. Like this movie? Yeah. That didn't work out. Backfire. And then also 1 part ginger ale served over ice, and then the little pretty garnishes because I want something fruity and delightful.
Yeah, it's stunning.
Stunning.
This cocktail's gorgeous. Let's give this a try.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Cheers to gals.
To Galentine's Day. Oh my god. I was saying this cocktail. I mean, we've clearly already tried the cocktail because we had to record this the second time, but it's so good. It tastes exactly like you're on a resort in Cuba or Mexico, and you're listening to the waves of the ocean. You're sitting at the beach.
You almost said the waves of the beach.
I almost said the waves of the beach. Jill, thanks. The waves at the beach. It's amazing. Thank you so much for this.
And it's like it tastes like it's like white wine. No, there's other stuff in there, and it's real good. It's so good. Okay, so we're gonna watch our show, and we'll see you in a minute. Okay,
bye.
Goodbye.
What did you think?
Oh my gosh, I liked it. I liked it so much.
Did you?
I loved it so much. It was so beautiful. I'm at a little bit of a loss for words.
I was going to say, I don't know if it's because we're on our periods, but we're feeling a lot of emotions.
A lot of emotions.
We are synced up all the time, and we're just feeling it.
Yeah. Okay, let's go into... you TikTok, because I've got emotions and I can't do it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's go into a little more detail, because we just kind of skimmed over the synopsis, and probably a lot of people haven't seen this movie.
I mean, there was a pause when we watched the movie, so that's when you watched the movie, so I don't know why you haven't watched.
I mean, I don't know, but let's just...
I mean, that's the rules, but whatever.
That's the rules. A 12-year-old Maori girl...
No, Maori.
A 12-year-old Maori girl whose ambition is to become the chief of a tribe is what it's about. Basically, this little girl is born a twin, and her brother and her mother die. They're direct descendants of... Paikea, the Whale Rider. By the way, this movie's called Whale Rider, not The Whale Rider, which Teal tried to tell me multiple times, but I don't listen.
It's fine.
So, the firstborn son is a direct descendant of Paikea. He passed away with the mother. And so, I just lost track of what I was saying. I want to start that again.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You got it. Oh, it's fine. I'll see if I was paying attention. So how their tribe works is that the chief of them is the firstborn son from the direct descended line of this person, Paikea. I can't name
Paikea,
who was a whale rider and the beginner of
the tribe.
They are.
And so Pai is originally born a twin. Her brother would have been, the direct descendant, but she was born. I think it was her mother that said Pai as she was dying.
Yeah.
So her father named her after Paikea, which her grandfather was not at all happy with.
Well, that's not right. You don't. Well, in their world, that name is strictly for the firstborn son. Mm-hmm. So it's named the firstborn or tideborn daughter when the firstborn son died is just wrong.
Yeah, his father, her grandfather, was just ready for him to get started again and try to have another son immediately after his wife and newborn son had just died.
In childbirth, yes.
In childbirth.
We didn't say that part. Died in childbirth.
So Pai does eventually form a bond with her grandfather, but he also condemns her and blames her for everything bad happening within the tribe.
Yeah, he said that everything went wrong after she was born. That's rude.
It is rude. So she kind of has to prove herself throughout the course of this film that she is indeed, the chief of the tribe. It's her.
She's meant for it.
She has to prove it to her grandfather, who just kind of writes her off, and
then it's hard to watch doing that.
It's hard to watch him push her away and just be denied by her. And same with her father, who just leaves. He can't. It's so painful for him after he lost his wife to be there. And he just kind of jets off and travels the world and ends up meeting somebody else and
starting another family.
Starting a new family. And he wants her there. He wants his daughter with him, but she knows that her place is with the tribe.
Yeah, and with her family and with her community. And yeah, it's devastating. But the grandmother, she is the best.
Yeah, it's like she knows from the beginning what her granddaughter is destined for, and she's her support throughout the entire thing, and she's so wonderful. And I think her uncle knows it too. The grandmother says to him in the very beginning, learn how to hold her now and love her now because she needs it.
She'll need it later on.
Yeah. Yeah, because she's not getting it.
She's holding her little girl when she's born and just says, I'll get a divorce. You just say the word.
Yeah, she knows her husband is extremely hard-headed and just stubborn and
doesn't know how to adapt and change to what the world is.
Yeah.
Not everything goes according to plan.
No. Everything has to happen so obviously in front of him for him to finally see it at the very end of the film. And she knows he's not ready to accept that she's his granddaughter is the whale rider.
When she's literally riding a whale.
Until she's literally riding a whale.
Yeah.
And she hands him the tooth that she got from the sea. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's so good. So I didn't really talk about the cast earlier on. Pai, our heroine, is played by Keisha Castle-hughes, and this is her first role ever, and she's just fucking amazing in it, hey?
She's lovely.
Probably most of you will know her from Game of Thrones. She's Obara Sand, who's a badass snake warrior woman in Game of Thrones. I love her and her sisters. They're so cool.
Yeah. And she's also, she plays the new Queen of Naboo in episode 3 of Star Wars.
Right.
I thought was cool. I Googled the things after the movie, so people like to know bits and bobs.
For sure. Her dad's played by Cliff Curtis, who can get it. I've seen him most recently in Fear the Walking Dead. You probably haven't seen that. He's not in this movie very much, hey? Like, he's there in the beginning, and he's a little bit at the very end, and that's...
But, like, just a teeny little baby snippet of him at the end.
A little absentee father. But, I mean, he obviously loves her very much, but it's so painful for him. He lost the love of his life.
Which is horrible for her, because she sees that on everyone's faces when they look at her. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you not see that?
Yeah, and I think he senses that he's disappointed his dad by not successfully having a son, which is just the whole thing. The father's played by Rawiri Pantene. I'm probably saying that Paratine, not Pantene. Rawiri Paratine. And he's really good. It's so hard to watch him.
Yeah, especially when he goes all, when things go wrong and he gets all pouty pants little boy and has a big mope in his bed.
Has to like sleep in his bed for who knows how long.
Yeah.
The grandmother's played by Vicky Houghton. Her uncle's Grant Roa, and then...
Who's Grant Roa? Oh, sorry. I thought you meant, like, the mom...
The mom's uncle?
The grandmother,
Bob's
like,
uncle?
in real life, her uncle is whatever, and I was like, oh, who's that? Someone I should know? But that's literally
her dad's brother, her uncle.
Sorry.
And then his girlfriend is played by Rachel House, who is the grandma in Moana, the voice of the grandma, and, what else was she in? She's in Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, yeah.
She's Topaz. She's so good. She's so good in everything. I love her so much. We were watching and we had to stop and look her up because we're like, she's so familiar. She's Topaz in Ragnarok.
Wonderful.
Which, I mean, if you don't remember her, just like go look it up and you'll know exactly. Give it a goog.
Give it a goog.
So this is directed, as we mentioned earlier, by Nikki Caro. She is from New Zealand. She's not Maori. But I have like some cool little snippets that she mentioned, being a white woman kind of directing this film and getting into it.
Which is really interesting, being not of the culture and ethnicity, nationality of what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Like
it could go very wrong.
Like that was with the short film that I was in, which was about 60s, the South in the 60s. And it was a bunch of white boys and me telling the story, and how... I'm trying to think of how to word it, but like how careful but also self-aware and informed you need to be of what you're portraying and how it's coming across, and why are you telling this story as a white person telling a person of color's story. What gives you the right to do that? Because we all know that us whiteys just take over everything and are the worst. So why are we telling this story, and why is anyone that isn't a person of color telling a story like that? So it's interesting to see someone taking that on and doing such a good job. And well, I mean, hopefully, we think it's a good job, but hopefully those of their culture thought so too. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
No.
Tangent.
No, that's fine. I guess somebody had asked her, her perspective on what she was directing versus the perspective that a Maori director would have. And she said, that's a really complex question because I can only look at it differently because I'm not inside the culture. She said, this has potentially significant drawbacks to it, and there was some resistance to my directing the story because I'm not Maori. However, none of that resistance came from the it's really hard for me to say, Maori community itself. And as holders of the Whale Rider legend, they were the only people I had to answer to, and I got nothing but incredible love and support from them. I believe that the debate of who should tell Indigenous stories is very important. It's something that should be talked about. I'm totally up for that, and if my work can be part of that debate, I'm thrilled. But in my experience in making this film, it's not about what my culture is or what the color of my skin is, as much as it's about the process of telling these stories. I was not prepared to make this unless it was made completely collaboratively with the Maori community. All my work was looked at very carefully by the elders of the community and blessed before we started work. She had an advisor from the tribe with her at all times, and they felt very satisfied that their film was in the hands of a filmmaker who could actually get it up on the screen, which is the other thing. If you're in a position where you can put something in the spotlight, then you should do it. You know, if you go about it the right way. She also learned language as best as she could. She spent lots of time in the community. She said she realized that by being on the ground, eating the food, she could experience the truth and beauty of a culture. It's not about me. I'm absolutely in service of the truth of the story. I've made every movie since Whale Rider that way.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that amazing? So, I mean, clearly she puts a lot of thought into it, which is amazing. She's put herself as much into that position and that perspective as she possibly could as a white person telling this story of these people.
And that's something so important too, that it's not about her and who she is or was or wants to be. It's about telling the truth of the story, just being that vessel to get this story told, because it's a beautiful story and it's important. And I mean, I wonder what it's like for someone who's from New Zealand, and what, you know, I can imagine what it'd be like if this was a Canadian story and learning something like that about our Indigenous people and the First Nations people of our country, and how I think I would just really love to see a story and witness a story like that. So I wonder what it's like being from where they are, and just to hear her say that is nothing to do with her, and it's all about getting the story told and getting it told properly and respectfully and doing it justice. That's really all we can ask for.
Exactly. So a little bit more about the director. She directed North Country. Have you seen that?
No, what's
that? It's starring Charlize Theron, and it's a fictionalized account of like the first major sexual harassment case in U.S. history. Charlize Theron plays a woman that works in like, I think like a coal mine or something with a bunch of men, and she's just constantly harassed. And it's really, we should put that on our list. We should actually watch that. It's really nice. And she also did The Zookeeper's Wife, which I've actually never seen. Maybe that's something we could look into as well. I think that's an important film. And in the future, she's doing a live action version of Mulan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She's directing that?
Coming out next year?
This year? That's already in production, I believe.
Isn't that amazing? So she's the second female director to direct a huge budget film, I think by Disney. The others being Ava DuVernay and, sorry if I said that wrong, who did A Wrinkle in Time, and Anna Boden, who's doing Captain Marvel.
Oh.
She said
Captain Marvel's being done by a woman as well?
Girl, I know.
Isn't that nice?
I'm so excited to see that. What is that, next month, I think, coming out?
Is it next month already?
March.
Oh, so exciting.
So she said she used to resent the title female director because she says she's a director and gender doesn't really come into it. But times aren't changing fast enough. So for people that look to Captain Marvel or Mulan, Anna and I standing right behind those characters, I feel that responsibility joyously.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Isn't that wonderful?
I agree with what she's saying too about not wanting to be, I'm a female director. Well, you're just a director.
You're just a director.
Like you don't have to say that you're a female something or a...
But just like she says, you almost do have to say it now because it's the conversation that we're all having, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to. But
we are having a conversation
where we're at.
And trying to have it positively. So I mean that's good.
Yeah.
I mean that's what we're doing. We're just looking for female directors. I mean that's like basically what we Googled.
And then on a lighter note, a little bit more about her. She's self-taught in film.
Oh.
She had only read narrative film books, and then she started out writing scripts, and her mom would type them up for her at work, which is adorable.
Moms.
She started out in commercials, and then wrote and directed this television series with basically no experience. Her first film received pretty mixed reviews, but was voted the best new film in 1998 at the New Zealand Film Awards. And then Will Rider was her next film.
Wow.
Right?
And that was nominated for Best Actress Oscar.
Right.
For our little pay
Keisha?
Yeah, she was the youngest at the time, the youngest girl ever nominated for Best Actress Award.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Yeah. And then so I think she did her job, like pushing this film into the spotlight and giving it an air of
into mainstream Hollywood. That's amazing.
Yeah. Did you read a little bit about the Maori? God, I'm the worst.
I did.
Because I read that she argues that Will Rider is more about leadership than sexism because the Maori are profoundly matriarchal, and there's a saying that women lead from behind that they say a lot of the time.
Interesting.
So what did you find out about
that? Okay, well, I didn't do a whole heck load. I think you're... So I just looked up a little bit about who the Maori people are, because I don't know anything about them and about their culture. And I knew they were the indigenous people of New Zealand, but that was kind of it. So they are the indigenous Polynesian people of New Zealand. They originated with settlers from eastern Polynesia who arrived in New Zealand in several waves of canoe voyages sometime between 1250 and 1300. And they lived there first. They were there. So the Polynesian settlers developed a unique culture with their own language, rich mythology, and distinctive crafts and performing arts. And then the Europeans came to New Zealand starting in the 17th century. Initial relations between the Maori and Europeans were largely amicable. However, rising tensions over disputed land sales led to conflict in the 1860s. Social upheaval, decades of conflict, and epidemics of introduced disease took a devastating toll on the Maori population, which fell drastically. By the start of the 20th century, the Maori population had begun to recover, and efforts have been made to increase their standing in wider New Zealand society and achieve social justice. So basically, they were around first, and then the Europeans came in and wrecked everything.
Yeah, white people
just like Canada, just like the U.S. Fucking white people. Honest to God, can we stop just pretending like we own anything? Land, people, cultures, any of it. We don't. Nope. Stop doing that. Just quit it. That's enough. Anyway, that was. I didn't have a whole lot else because I ran out of time.
That's great. That's more than we knew before. So
it is more than we knew before, which was
something,
nice.
right?
I loved so much seeing all of their traditions and ways of doing things, like how the greeting hug that they did with like the nose breathing thing. I'm so fascinated by that. Because I haven't seen this movie before, so I didn't do any research beforehand. Didn't want to, spoilers. It had a way of being intimate without being too personal, but also very personal at the exact same time. Mm-hmm. It was such a connected foreheads and noses and breathed in. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that was about. I mean, I can speculate what I think it meant or what it means, but I just thought that was so beautiful in the way. There's so many pieces like that. And for me, I guess we're from Saskatchewan and we're not religious. We're not really into our culture very much.
What culture though?
Yeah. I mean,
that's the thing. That's why I love seeing films like this and seeing something that's so rich in culture and history and hearing the stories, because we don't have that. We can't truly ever relate to that. Yeah. And I wish I could. So at the very least, we can watch this and appreciate the beauty of it, even though we'll never truly know it. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, like for us, like we're Ukrainians, but not enough. Like my grandma was like first generation Canadian, mm-hmm. so she already started losing the language and some of the the ways of their lives, and trying to learn it now is so hard. So we never spoke any of that growing up. My mom doesn't know any of it. Words here and there. And that's one of the biggest, not regrets, but things I wish I had in my life, was something spiritual or religious or cultural, something that was, I don't know, just to help make you a person. And we don't have any of that. That's why I don't really have any tattoos or anything, because there's nothing in my life that's significant enough to feel like I want a part of me forever. I mean, I've got a Joel, but I'm not putting Joel's name on me. That's just weird. No offense to anyone that does that. But I just loved, for me, I'm always drawn to things like that, mm-hmm. and those shows of their culture and what they do, and those little pieces that are just inherent in their lives. They just do it naturally, but for us it's just
it's all passed down, and that's why it's so important to pass it down.
Yeah. And
like you said, we don't really do that. It just kind of petered out somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Depressed.
That's fine.
Do you want to? I have like one last really cute little note. So
cute notes.
The guy that wrote the story,
mm-hmm.
whale writer, I'm going to say his name again. I'm going to butcher it again. Witi Ihamara.
Sounded nice.
It does sound nice, but I'm sure it's wrong. He says he wrote it in response to his daughter complaining the boy is always the hero.
Aww.
Doesn't that just touch your heart in such a way?
It breaks your heart and then puts it back together again.
Puts it back together better than before. So thank you to him. Thank you to Nikki Caro. This is a gorgeous film, and if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you do.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Like who would you recommend this movie to?
I would recommend this to anybody. Everybody should watch movies like this that aren't mainstream nonsense.
Right.
Watch something that has some culture and some meaning.
Just because it's not directed towards you
doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. Just
right.
Everyone should watch it. There's no one specific. Everyone watch this. Maybe specifically us white people who don't have something to fall into and something to fall back on or to, I don't know, surround ourselves in. It's something to appreciate for what people do and what cultures and communities do so that we can, I guess, cherish the things that we have in our lives.
Mm-hmm. I hope we can find more movies like this to watch.
Me too.
In the future. And I'm sure we can. It's just, you need to be open to it.
Yeah.
And we'll find it. We'll bring it to you.
We'll get there.
What kind of mood do you need to be in to watch this?
Maybe like a little bit of a sentimental mood.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Wow, guys, we just really
I mean, we're definitely both like in a sensitive spot, like we said, so we probably felt it pretty deep, I think, that we watched it this week as opposed to
well, we're
not being on our periods.
But also, fuck that. Fuck that in general. I don't care. It doesn't matter. We can be sensitive or not, or anything. Just because we have a menstruation cycle doesn't mean anything. It's fine. It doesn't mean we're less of who we are.
It does mean I'm more likely to cry at any given time. And that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, it was a beautiful film. Like, I'm very, I don't know.
How many whale riders? How many whales would you give it out of?
Just one.
How many whale teeth?
One whale for her ride to show her grandpa that she is capable of anything.
Oh.
You only need one.
You only need one. Well, thanks so much for watching this week. Thank you for the cocktail. I drank it real fast.
Yeah, we did. Good pick, Tiff. This was beautiful.
Thanks. I'm so happy you enjoyed it.
Yeah, not sure what next week's going to be, but
it's going to be a surprise.
We'll see what it's going to be. We'll see.
Thanks so much for listening.
Thanks, guys. Have a delightful Valentine's Day.
It's not.
I was not done.
I'm so sorry.
Rude.
Hopefully
Happy March. Goodbye. Goodbye.